Good morning and welcome to BACP's Business Education Workshop webinar series. We have adapted our regular business education workshops at City Hall into these webinars until further notice. On behalf of our commissioner, I want to inform you that business licenses can be processed online where applicable by visiting www.chicagobusinessdirect.org. City Hall is also open to the public. If you are part of the BACP Entrepreneur Certificate Program, you could get credit for joining this webinar by sending an email to bacpoutreach@cityofchicago.org. If you want to learn about the program, please visit chicago.gov/businesseducation. Also, BACP in the City of Chicago's Office of Emergency Management and Communications created Shy Biz Emergency Alerts. You can opt in to receive targeted emergency alerts for business community. If you're interested, please visit chicago.gov/shy-biz-alerts. We encourage attendees to ask questions. Please use the chat box and send your questions to all panelists. There will be a Q&A at the end of the presentation. And now I'd like to welcome Cheryl Hudson-Jackson, Director of the Illinois Sbdc at the Ywca Metropolitan Chicago.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Geraldine and the City of Chicago for inviting Ywca Metropolitan Chicago to do this presentation for you. I'm really excited about this one. This is one of my favorite presentations to do because, let's face it, everyone that's on this call, it is all about customer service. Everybody has the right and the privilege to spend their money anywhere and in any way they want to, and clearly they always spend it where they feel that they're getting the best value. And so today's presentation is about customer service from a very grassroots perspective, where you're talking about how you're receiving it, how you're giving it, and how that actually helps your business. So we've got quite a few slides to get through today. Please feel free to ask any questions, put them in the chat. I will definitely answer to my best ability at the end of today's presentation. So let's get started. So customer service, what's missing? I can probably ask everybody on this call, you could give me 2 or 3 examples of what's missing with customer service. So today's presentation, we're really going to talk about in-person retail and telephone customer services, service practices that's going to make a difference in making sure that you keep the clients that you have, get new clients, as well as making a very harmonious work environment. So I can't believe this, but in 2006, CareerBuilder.com said that the #1 position that they would be hiring in and recruiting in is customer service. And now we're at 2021, and that seems to be the case. I cannot run into anyone that's not in a retail space, be it hospitality or food service or any type of retail brick and mortar store that is not at this point shaking in their boots around not having enough people to be able to come back and get work done and help them with their businesses, or getting them that are talented enough such that they don't have to do a lot of heavy lifting and hand holding to get them to work for them. And so today we're going to talk about all the nuances that go into that, because it is a collaborative event that happens when you get a great employee, a wonderful business manager together. It just works together to be this beautiful experience if done correctly. So let's talk about what does that have to look like. So what's missing? So today we're going over interview, job preparedness, business background, retail etiquette, sales and service techniques, point of sales, customer retention, all those things, because everything on this list seems to be targeted in your mind, if you're a business owner, towards the person that you're going to be hiring. But honestly, if you're a business owner and you don't get this piece from the back end right, then inevitably what you get on the floor is not such a great experience for the client or the employee that you've hired. So what happens when we go and get these individuals to work for us? I mean, clearly we think as business owners, we have it all together. You know, we understand our business, we understand our mission, we know what we want our business to look like in terms of how it's represented on the floor. But herein lies sometimes the problem. I've encountered business owners who don't understand that they too have to walk the walk and talk the talk. The concept of being prompt for your interviews and not having your clients or your potential employees waiting says a lot about you respecting your business and time. And inevitably, the same thing for the candidate who's looking for an opportunity in customer service. And inevitably, this starts the whole strain of how that employee is dealing with your customer. If you're not on time, then inevitably your employee doesn't value time. And inevitably, if he or she doesn't value time, then they don't value the customer's time. And it just becomes this horrible stack of cards just falling down flat. So I always talk about this customer service piece, not only for the recruitment side, but for what the actual employer believes in. And that is promptness, having a resume available to read all the information that the candidate has that aligns with what you're looking for. Make sure you have an application. It's interesting, some of my small businesses, when they think about hiring people, it really is on a gut feel. Oh, I talked to them and we really had a great conversation. I felt like they were in alignment with me, the moon and the stars, and therefore that's why I hired them. Well, not always the right technique. You really want to be able to see on paper exactly how they have navigated their career to be ready to do the work for you. So between the resume, the application, those things are important. And you as a hiring manager need to look at it very closely to make sure that they have at least what the baseline of what you're looking for. Oftentimes we do take risk on individuals that make us feel good, or you just think they got the right thing and you can train them very quickly to do what it is that you want them to do. But if they don't have the appropriate foundation, inevitably you end up with someone who really doesn't get what you need them to get, and it causes a lot of frustration. All this then becomes a follow-up to how your customer gets whatever you're providing. So you want to make sure that you're in alignment on what you want. It's communicated appropriately to the person that's working for you, and inevitably they then will have the pride, information, and skill set to pass it on to your customer, and we have a happy customer, happy retention. The questions and answers that you have of the candidates that you're interviewing and thusly them to you will say a lot about how they think creatively and critically when they're left alone representing you and your business, trying to retain the clients that you have. You want to make sure that those questions are thoughtful, that they actually see the big picture, or they're aligned to the mission of the business, so that you can see if that candidate that you're going to hire to represent you is going to have the same thinking skill set as you have to be able to pass that knowledge on and how they retain clients and interface with your clients. So it's important to know what your mission and your purpose of your business is. If you are a restaurant owner providing the best cheesecakes in Chicago, there could be truly a mission around, or a purpose or backstory to how the cheesecake came into being. But moreover, you want to provide the best wholesome, organic or natural cheesecake product ever that's sourced from the community, that is being prepared in small batches, whatever that essence of what you have, it has to translate from you to your employee, and from the employee to the customer. When the customer thinks that they're getting something exceptional, something that was curated just for them, it is something magical. They'll always come back and they tell all their friends. Now, no, let me just give you this one really quickly. If a bad experience is being had, it is amazing how that goes faster than a good one. You have to think about this. So when something great happens at a restaurant or a hotel or any business, the person who's received that wonderful experience will tell probably most of the friends that they'll encounter for that day. But let me tell you something, if something goes wrong, they're not only going to tell their friends and family, but anybody who will listen. It seems that exponentially, negative feedback travels far faster and wider than positive. So it is important that the experience from the beginning of your business to the individual that you're actually charging to represent you on the floor, your walking marketing customer service person, is able to translate the absolute best to your client so that the customer service becomes exceptional. Dress and grooming. Well, this is a really interesting dance because we have a much more relaxed work environment everywhere. And therefore, the ability to have a dress code that is not too over the top, most people are far into the relaxed experience. Here's what I do know. When an individual is clean and neat and dressed properly, it actually affects their psychological psyche of being able to deliver their very, very best. And so therefore, you need to decide how you want your business to translate to your customer. If you are a well put together, organized business, then all those who work for you on the floor and even in the back room need to have a persona that carries that all the way through. So does that mean you're having them in uniforms, or does it mean that they all have to wear the same color? It's up to you. But there's something to be said about the things that you remember. For instance, when Sephora decided to get started in the United States, their sales representatives on the floor all had to wear black, and they wore black with gloves and a silver tray at one point, because all of the perfumes and makeups and lipsticks and everything in that store was to be showcased on the silver platter. They were the star, not the employee. And so the employee was truly almost the prop that held up the product to serve to the customer. And I find that really interesting that even I remember that, because we're talking about 25 years ago when they started in this business on stateside, that was the memory that stuck with me, that anytime I go into that store, that products in the store is the star. From a customer service perspective, that is definitely heightening the experience. And that is what we want to make sure happens in our customer service experience. So again, being prompt means arriving early. That includes your employees being there, being prepared, understanding what's being needed for the day so that they're not hurried and crazy. And therefore that hurried and crazy doesn't translate into the customer service experience. If you have someone, and oh, by the way, yes, we bring our whole self to work. That means that if we got cut off on the expressway, or our child broke something in the house on your way out the door, all of those things come with us. But it is our responsibilities as employers to help our employees to understand how to synthesize what stays at home or stays in their car and what comes in the door for performance to make sure that the customer is completely served. Being on time, meaning opening up your store on time. I have encountered some small businesses that believe that since they own the facility, they can open up whatever they want, though the marquee on the door says it opens at a particular time, but they're not open. Well, you do that a couple of times, that thing I told you about early about bad news and bad reviews and poor experiences, oh, that will just run rampant. And then what you'll see in reviews online is that, no, they have a great product, but they're never open on time. Well, you want your business to be known as something reliable, which means that you and or your staff needs to always be there early. Early is truly the new on time. When we talk about moving quickly, in a sense of urgency, I have been in some of the retail stores with salespeople who were busy having a conversation amongst themselves that they did not put their clients first. And their clients are still standing there waiting for the conversation between the two of them to end so that they then can be served. Moving quickly and having a sense of urgency that your client is the only thing that's important is definitely the edge up on having excellent customer service. If in fact you have employees that don't recognize that their clientele is the reason why they have a gig, it is important for you when you have your huddle once a week on what went well and what did not, to really reiterate that the customer is always the first priority. If you're going to be late for your staff or your staff being late for work, it is important to give appropriate notice, which means that you have to have systems in your organization to accommodate late, tardiness, absentees, because without that, you have no command over structure of how things will move through your day. There's nothing worse than thinking that you are fully staffed with 5 people and 3 of them call off, and now you got to be on the floor. It creates a whole energy that people are able to feel when they walk in your door. So you got to be able to figure out how to recover with a sense of high customer service to be able to make sure that there is no idea given to your clients that you are understaffed, that they have been treated and received in a way that you have an abundance of people working there and that they are the number one priority. Oh, by the way, apologies are good. I have realized that some people have a hard time saying I'm sorry, but you have no idea that that will buy you a whole lot when you're humble and sincere. So in the context of how your individuals that are working on the floor representing your company, if something is not right, saying I'm sorry and giving full attention to rectifying the problem will go a long way. There has been a lot of positiveness that have come as a result of the words I'm sorry and let me look into it. So we talked about the resume real quick, and I'm just going to breeze through this one. But the content, the experiences, the logical format, and looking for what you want is exactly what needs to happen when you're dealing with many of the employees that you're sourcing to represent your organization. Look at how well it's written, and that is logically understandable. Make sure that the experiences align with what your business is trying to convey to the customer base. Make sure you do not compromise on what you're looking for. If you're a small business, the individual that you hire is a huge investment because you're about to invest money into a resource that you're hoping will help you make more money and at least to sustain the customer base that you've already established. And if in fact you don't have that in that person, potentially you could lose traction of what you've already built prior to hiring this individual because they're just ill-equipped to be able to represent you and the business on the floor. Good customer service is a reflection of the business owner. So there is a great responsibility put on how you hire, who you hire, and how you reward those that are hired with good feedback. Because again, when we are left with not great instructions, we can create our own urban legend and our own rules and regulations that don't align to what you were looking for in running your business. Again, the application, we talked a little bit about that, making sure that whatever you get from your employee, that the information is succinct, the education is there, you've got some references. And please, small business owners, if you're going to have anyone working for you, you need to follow up with references. I think a lot of people find it difficult to call someone and ask if these individuals actually work for them and how well they did. But you can get a lot of information from how things are said and what aren't said to give you a better idea and comfort on the individual who's going to best represent your company and inevitably secure and keep your customers coming in the door. I often talk about questions. You need to be able to ask the people who work for you and those who are your clients some great questions when they come in the door. You know how when you're in any type of store, there's the question, how may I help you? What are you looking for today? All those things are important. But if you, the business owner, is on the floor, actually kind of walking around and observing how things are going, it's really important that you have your three questions in your pocket that you want to know from the clients on the floor. For customer service, it's important because it is a marketing research tactic, the guerrilla version, that gives you more insight on things that you might want to change and that you can change in an instant. So if you are on the floor and you have a retail store, and you run into a client, you can say, absolutely ask them how they're doing, and observe what they have in their hand, see if they're going to a party or how they're utilizing that outfit, and how do they think the quality of the fabric is, or the style is, or how are they going to match that up. Get into their heads to find out why they even came in the store in the first place. Did they select the right thing that you would have thought they would have selected as you are a buyer of your product? And being able to let them know that their feedback is so important and will help shape the kinds of things that will come in the store in the future. Those that showing interest, taking notes, reflecting on the interview that you have with the clients on the floor is very, very important. So one of the things that happens in customer service is that we don't smile, and we are so into the process that we forget to have a good time. Customer service is all about making sure that the person that is getting the product is getting the absolute best experience. Smiling happens to be part of the process. Offering assistance, even if it's just for a basic inquiry, so that the customer realizes that you are definitely invested in them having the best experience possible in your environment, is important. If this happens to be a business in which it's a consultation, you want to make sure that everyone is seated and comfortable, and that the expectations of what you are experiencing with a client is definitely known. So if you are in a retail store and you come around the cash wrap, you personally hand the bag to the client, you definitely want them to come back again. Looking forward to seeing you. Thank you. All of those things with integrity. And interesting enough, that translates all the way backwards. So how you are experiencing that with your customer on the floor, hiring managers, you need to have that same experience with the employee that you're hiring, making sure that they get a sense of warmth and commitment from you. Because if they get it from you, they're going to imitate what you have shown to them, to your clientele. All right. So I got a couple of things that I want to make sure that when you are interfacing with your employees and or clients, these are things that I tell you, it's just amazing how comfortable we've become. So if you are sitting down talking to your potential employee, you want to sit up straight, and you need them to sit up straight, and you need them to stand up straight when they are working with clients on the floor. Eye contact becomes extremely important. If you're not looking at the individual with some sense of sincerity and commitment, then they don't feel that what you're saying is the truth. There has to be a connection. Being able to speak clearly about what it is that you're expecting or what you want people to have in terms of an experience is important. And taking notes are important too. I think that in the context of, if your employee tells you that they're having an experience with a certain product on the floor, you need to take heed so that you can buy the right things or talk to your your suppliers around the products that you have. If you are having a conversation with a customer and they're telling you some things that they're looking for that you think that you can bring to their attention or provide for them, like a personal shopping experience, which people really like, that comes from taking notes. I talked about smiling before, but I cannot insist upon it much more than saying that if you smile, people smile back at you. If you are grimacing, then you have now actually started an effect where the people walk out the door, they're grimacing at other people. You know, smiles are contagious, and they don't really take much to do. You just have to remind yourself to be in the moment and having fun and delight, and that you're being able to service your client in a way that makes good business sense. And ask questions. Now, I am on this don't side because I have to talk about this for a hot moment because it really is one of those hot buttons. Don't have cell phones on the floor. Your customers really need to know that they're the only ones that matter. Unless cell phones are part of the business, inevitably they don't need to be on the floor. So that is a rule and regulation that you need to have with your employees as they service your customers. And then you need to practice it when you're on the floor with your employees in terms of being able to coach them and give them feedback. No chewing gum. I know that everyone has had these masks on and they've had to have their lips all closed and maybe their breath is a little tart, but we've got to figure out a different way of being able to freshen your breath. But chewing gum is definitely not the way to do it. It kind of lessens the experience for the customer as they are trying to listen to you over the smack. Interviews. This is just a note. I have encountered individuals bringing family members to interviews because that was the only ride they had in order for them to interview for the job. In this case, if those individuals were the ones that brought you to the job interview, if they could stay in the car while you come in and represent and bring your best game to be able to interview and get a job would be appropriate. And it unfortunately has to be said because a lot of our business owners, because they are looking for people and are so desperate, they are missing the mark on critical thinking and appropriateness. So I just wanted to bring this into the mix that, you know, the friends, the children, the family members that come to the interview, not so much. The slang and I really want to say that if you're not a business that is into colloquial slang, then inevitably it is important that the individuals who are representing you in a way that is professional. And slang and being too familiar could truly cost you because customers don't necessarily want you to be that familiar with them. And again, no excuses. So that comes with, well, if the client comes in and says, well, I'm bringing this back because it doesn't work, and your employee says, well, okay, well, I didn't do it, so I'll just take it back. None of that negative conversation is necessary for the client. It's always, thank you. I'm going to take notes on what went wrong so I can let the business owner know so that we can make sure that we correct this for any of our other clients, and let me see how I then can help you. But the excuses I've heard and mystery shopping experiences before where some of the employees interfacing with the customers have come up with some really interesting excuses on why they can't service the client in a way that's appropriate. And that's just definitely a no-no. I want to talk to my business owners. When you are creating your business, you should know your industry, your competitors. You should understand the style and design of how you see your business being executed, and that will help you decide on the products and that you actually select and inevitably the customers that will come through the door. That is your job. But once you have figured that out, you need to translate that to your employees on the floor. Because when you do that, they are able to take that and put that in their toolbox and weave it into their conversation with customers. Customers always like to know nuance information when they're shopping or buying. Again, that curated just for them is really big. And that comes from them, the employees getting information from you on how to appropriately sell and present your business. There is a retail etiquette that most people in our business remember. If you're old school, you'll remember this. If you're new school, not so much. There are acceptable behaviors, nonverbal behaviors, and verbal behaviors that are important that execute themselves on the floor. So I want to go through them very probably one by one so that we can really understand that. So unacceptable behaviors is being tardy for work and meetings, and that works both ways, business owners and employees. Talking loud in the facility where it's distracting from the shopping or buying experience for the customer is definitely a no-no. Arguing with customers can never happen, nor arguing with coworkers on the floor or anywhere else, quite frankly, is unacceptable. Taking personal phone calls while working, chewing gum and eating while you're dealing with your clients, definitely making them feel like a second class, as opposed to the first class, which is how they should feel every time they come through your door or call your business, be it internet business that has a customer service line. You need to be very mindful of the individuals in which you hire and the rules and regulations thereof, and that they are able to understand why they need to adhere to these rules and regulations and how that translates into customer retention as well as customer growth. So, psychologists claim that you impact others in this way. So what you say, 7%. How you say it, 38%. And 55% is in body language. So if you have a store or a restaurant and you're slumping over, tired and lethargic, it screams louder than the fantastic meal that someone's about to enjoy. 93% of emotions are communicated without words in the context of how you greet your client. If you are coming towards them with a welcoming demeanor and a smile and the ability to help, it can change the trajectory of even how the customer even walked into the store. I have observed customers who are having a bad day come in and encounter great sales experiences on the floor or in the restaurants where it brightens up their day. It makes a difference. Your business can turn the energy of a client, and that's what you want, to turn it positively. So again, they can then promote your business and continue to come back. So verbal behaviors, the ability to use words to evoke and stimulate a reaction, and then the nonverbals is to communicate without speech. So it goes without saying that you can say one thing and your body can say another. So you need to be consistent. If you're happy, then happiness is standing up straight. It has a little bounce in the step. It has a smile and an energy that promotes, come along with me, I'm happy to see you, and I have some great things to show you. Versus a lethargic, frowning, don't want to be there person literally can turn the whole entire energy of a room from being super high to super low. So some verbal behaviors. Feedback to clients to create a good customer service experience could be that the easiest way that I can get this done for you could be this, or the fastest way, or the best way I can do this for you, if in fact it is needed. But the piece about, I'm sorry, this is the best that we can do, that's not my job, I don't have to take this, that attitude, that verbal behavior has just shot your business right between the eyes. Verbal behaviors and responses can shoot down your business or elevate your business. And it's just in the midst of a word and a tone. So be very mindful of how you interface with your clients and owners. You have to also be that way in your feedback. So if Susan or David are not performing on the floor, your instruction has to be constructive, positive, and professional. If it is lacking in those three things, how they'll translate that will also be, if it's translated negatively, will be translated directly to your customer base. And get ready to lose them. The customers aren't coming back. Or if they come back, it must be only for the great food, but they will have no expectation of having a great customer service experience. So it starts from the top down. How you encourage and instruct your employees will directly show up on how your customers are served. We've talked about this before: posture, facial expression, gestures, mannerisms, and appearance. It's important. All these things have to be in alignment to your mission of what you want for your client, your customers to experience through your employees. Dress code suggestions, because I talked about we're in a much more relaxed environment. The key thing here is the baseline of acceptable look and feel for your employees representing your company to your clients that you want to retain, is that they need to be fairly well groomed, hair, clothes, personal hygiene. This is not a club unless it is a club. So if it's a much more professional mainstream business company that you own, you want to make sure that the excessive skin is definitely moderated to an appropriateness. Minimize the jewelry and the piercings, the tattoos. And tattoos and piercings are far more acceptable now than they used to be. But you want to make sure that your employee is not the spectacle. They're not the product. You don't want that to clash with the product that you're trying to sell. So therefore, they need to understand the best way to represent your business and the product that they are selling is to make sure that they are not the distractor to the product that you're trying to sell. Cash management techniques. So here's the deal. If you're a cashier, all they do is man the cash register and they do the financial transactions. If you're a salesperson, you sell a product. What you are trying to do is you want to create a sales consultant, someone that sells the products. They add value, they know the knowledge around the products, they know the knowledge behind why your business exists, and they can sell it. And that makes your business and your product the difference, the exception. The customer wants that. They want to know that what they're getting is the best that they could get for the money that they're spending. And the experience of knowing where it came from is always an added value. But moreover, being able to know how you can complement that one product with something else in the store, the upsell, as well as understanding if it's a limited edition or if it's going to be replenished so that they can get more. All those things should be in the arsenal of your salesperson on the floor so that they can be able to share that information and provide that added oomph that sets them apart and your business apart from everybody else's. So the basics: know your product, know your store, website, restaurant, facility layout, keep merchandise neat, Keep your noise and aroma comfortable and pleasant. These things need to happen from the business owner's perspective all the way down to translating to your employees that work for you. And by the way, your employees, you should make it fun, but when you switch up your floor for your store or your restaurant and changing your menu or any other kind of complexity within your business, you should try to make it almost like a scavenger hunt once a month to make sure that your employees are on top of knowing exactly where everything is and when everything is coming in. Keeping them sharp, keeping it fun, having some rewards to go along with it is definitely going to add to the customer service experience, because as long as your employees feel valued, they will pass that value add on to your customer base. But it is important to make sure that everybody knows what your product line, that it is, if it is online, how to go through the different web pages to navigate to get what it is that you're looking for or they're looking for. If you are a restaurant, being able to know the different specials for the day. If you have a small wine collection, how that is paired up with the food that you're offering, but know all of the nuances so that the experience is super high level, super pleasant. And then the other side, noise. And so if you're piping in music, it can't be super loud. It does annoy customers. You need to just have it in the background so that they have something to kind of motivate them to move through your store or move through your restaurant or your diner. And it needs to be your aromas need to be pleasant, but not overwrought where it would be something that would cause any of your clients a headache. So an example of that is if you go to Las Vegas and you go to the Aria, they have a blended flower with vanilla that is aromatically moving throughout the casino, but it's more in the lobby and it dissipates as you get into the casino. The lobby is to give you the concept of elegance of the hotel itself, and it lingers through the floors when you go into the hotel. But when you move into the casino itself, it is very faint. It is not as strong as in the beginning when you walk in the door. And that is purposeful to just kind of get you to understand what a beautiful experience you're about to have, and then kind of have it dissipate so that you can concentrate more on winning the jackpot as you're inside the casino. So be very deliberate on how you want your store and your business to be received. We talked about engaging the customer, and I talk about this all the time in terms of offering assistance is important. Having someone come into your business and your employees are just standing there looking at them is not appropriate. They need to be around the cash wrap, on the floor, not attacking people at the door, but somewhere in the midst of the business so that they can welcome them. If this is a very small outfit where it's just you and one employee, then your employee really should be your ambassador, being able to articulate everything about your business so that the customer coming in really feels that they're in the right place. Genuine compliments. If in fact someone comes into your store and they are looking fantastic, tell them that. If in fact they have a purse or an item or something that catches your eye, that you can definitely make sure as a representative of the store or business owner, if it catches your eye, you should say, that's really a lovely, lovely brooch or a lovely pair of earrings or whatever it is that you genuinely think is attractive. Always highlighting what you've got new. You've got to move whatever you're selling. So you need to be able to have some kind of highlighted list of things that you want everyone to know when they're coming in to experience your business. The trial and test, that actually comes with those 3 questions. The ability to find out exactly what people are looking for and what they will be looking for in the future, or being able to you want to feature and bring to your business, but you're not quite sure that it would have a life for the investment that you're going to make. Having questions, doing the trial and test will allow you to introduce new product lines to what you are presently offering. And again, the product history, background. If you're in a store, it's about the upsell of accessories. If you're in a restaurant or a food business, it's about any suggestions or pairings that go along with it. If you are a honey a beekeeper and you're selling honey and you're actually doing the savory honeys, that is definitely new, and everybody's into the hot honey phase. What does hot honey go with? A lot of people don't know what to do with it. They think that they're getting it to put on, if they are eating fried chicken and they usually have it with honey, that the hot honey is actually going to add a red chili spice to the finished product. But there's a lot of great things that you can do with hot honey that is actually recipe oriented. Knowing those things and suggesting them so people go, I didn't know that, is another way of upselling and educating at the same time. And that information is very critical for your employee to know to pass on to your customers. And you, as a business owner, should continue to be educated about the products that you're selling and where the trends are going in the industry, so that you can pass that information on to your employees, so that your clients are far more aware and educated about what it is that you're bringing. And quite frankly, they appreciate that. At the checkout process, again, we talked about this, and I'm not going to belabor this, but greetings, making sure everybody's payments are done, handing the credit card off maybe with two hands instead of one, making sure that you lay the paper down flat and offer a pen. I know COVID has definitely retracted us from being able to be high touch in terms of the closeout of many transactions, but there are still ways where you can make sure that your client knows that you're engaged in saying goodbye, including when you take the receipt out, remembering to ask if in fact they want it in the bag or they want it in their hand. If you are doing this virtually on as a web-based business, making sure that your web page not only gives them the copy of the receipt, but their invoice numbers there, maybe give them tracking information on how quickly their product is going to be delivered to them, have a tracking phone number or website for them to check periodically if it's going to be a long period of time before they receive your product, but making sure that when they spend their hard-earned money, they understand what they're getting is being transitioned in a positive way, so that they leave the experience, be it on the internet or in a face-to-face transition, that they were served properly and they were taken care of with the utmost respect and integrity, especially when it comes to credit card security. So again, we talked about the greeting, we talked about upselling, we talked about smiling. The point of sale piece, I think it's important that as a business owner, if you're trying to figure out how to do a point of sale and understand Square and all the other digital experiences that are out there to be able to secure your dollars and cents, I think it's important that your employees have a understanding from top to bottom of how that works. There is nothing worse than being the only gatekeeper of how your POS system works, and all of a sudden a situation goes wrong and there's no one on site in your employee base to troubleshoot. So everything that you know around your point of sale is important to share with either your lead or your employees to be able to understand how to do a transaction. That includes if your system goes down, they need to know how to scribe a credit card number, be able to get all the critical information so that can be done manually. And if you have a cash register, they need to know how to count money. It is amazing. There are lots of customer service representatives that are working for people who have absolutely no idea of how to deal with currency. They don't know how to count dollars and change and do it properly. And as a result, they look for the actual transaction machine, be it a digital cash register or the actual swipe experience of keying in numbers to tell them what the math is in order to give back proper change or proper reimbursement on credit cards. So I would suggest, and we have done this before with other clients, there are some math test, not necessarily tests, but exercises to get everybody familiar with what will it take if all computers go down to be able to do the transactional work and be able to still make sure your clients feel very comfortable that you're competent to be able to count and give them their money back. So with that being said, here is a quick one for you. I know that you think that this might be a little bit basic, but honestly, it is amazing on what I was able to get from just doing this sample experience. So I'm going to ask you, if you got some pencil and paper, just to do this math real quick. Just like to make sure that everybody that's on this call knows how to do basic calculations of how to add money or to add sales tax. So I am going to give you a minute to do that. Okay, well, here's the moment of truth. Da, 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 da. All right, there's your answers. So check out your paper. See if in fact you got it right. The end game of this is that we just got to make sure that anybody representing our organization is appropriately tooled to be able to add and subtract and do multiplication. Because you never know when your system is going down, and you should not lose any revenue just because your systems are down. As a business, clearly your payment type, I talked about this a little bit about, cash, check, debit card, credit, all those things. But you should always make sure that the transaction experience where people work so very hard for their money is a positive and appropriate experience. You need to have some security procedures in place for all your employees to understand and work from, and make sure that they treat the customer's information with respect and very confidential. The confidentiality component is so critical nowadays with all of the credit card theft that has happened over the most recent years, that it's very difficult sometimes to get individuals to provide their full credit card number over the phone. They're only used to providing the last 4 digits and their actual security code on the back of their cards. So it is important that your employees understand the rules of the road and the security measures that are needed in order for them to get information to do transactions and what that looks like. Quick one for you. If you have been in a Target most recently, and this is not to beat up Target as a business, because I do love what they have, but unfortunately, they don't teach in their prep class how to properly fold clothing. And so typically the Target way of getting your clothing from their store is to take it off the hanger and kind of roll it up and stick it in a bag, causing excess wrinkles. Now it's funny because when that product comes in, there's a whole entire day that's divided to having the product on a Z-rack in the back with a steamer to get it ready to go on the floor so it's attractive to the client. And then once the client buys it, it gets back in the same wrinkled form that it came in. I laugh because I go, well, there's an opportunity there to teach how to neatly fold very quickly those items in which people were very hard to buy. Same thing with fragile items, learning how to wrap it up in paper and make the extra effort. All of that sets you apart in customer service. all of that. It's amazing that just being able to fold clothes properly, stack them nicely, put them in a bag, where when the client gets it home, they can take it out the bag and easily put it on a hanger without feeling that they've got to send into a dry cleaner or go downstairs and get a steamer or put it in the bathtub and have the wrinkles all stretched out because it came almost like it just came out of a dryer. It is important for us to be able to teach our employees to provide a service of that magnitude. It sets us apart. The ability to offer assistance and hand off to a customer in a way that's a positive way is just sets you apart. It sets you apart. So I talk about the greeting, and I did that earlier, and I just want to make sure I can't talk about thank you enough. And really say goodbye and hope to see them again. All those things need to be organic and well meant because the customer can feel it and they will do that. They will come back if in fact you really value them. So I'm going to kind of recap where we're at. We've talked about job preparedness and backgrounds, business backgrounds of the right people to work for you. We've talked about retail etiquette. We've talked about sales techniques. We talked about point of sale. Now we're going to talk a little bit about customer retention and customer service from a call center perspective. From bloghub.com, what is better than acquiring a new customer? It sounds like a quick question, but the answer isn't acquiring two customers, it's retaining the existing ones. And I think that it is important that we understand that when you retain a customer, they become your own marketing company for you. They are the ones that recommend you to others, and therefore exponentially your business grows. So the acquisition of new customers really comes in the art of keeping the ones that you have. So all the things that I had mentioned earlier in our presentation really talks to that. And then to that point, keeping a customer will truly impact your return on investment. It's just good business. And how you engage and keep them happy has everything to do with disposition, energy, the way your business looks, being open on time, just being happy and excited about what it is that you're selling. It's infectious. The next thing, examples of how to retain them. Actually, you should keep your matrix of how things are selling in your store. It's going to tell you what's popular. And again, when you're on the floor talking to your clients, that's going to help you solidify what you know to be true so that you can make sure that you have more of the things that people like than they don't like. When you have a customer and feedback loop, it's really cool. You do that by when they leave your store, your restaurant, give them a bounce back card, ask them, how, and a prime example of that, let's just use Culver's. Culver's does this all the time. If you enjoyed your meal, on your receipt, it will tell you. If you call and give them some good feedback about how the experience was, and usually it's only 4 questions. Was your food hot? Was the sales or the server polite? Was the restaurant clean? Was the bathroom acceptable? All the key things that they think are important for a good dining experience. And because you answered that, as soon as you put the code in, you can go right back up to the front and they will give you a free ice cream sundae. You can figure out what it is that you would like to get back to, or bounce back to your clients for valuable feedback that's going to help shape and keep your business moving forward. Having a communication calendar. If you are a restaurant, a store, or a food provider and have a calendar for holidays where you're doing something special or want to highlight an item that you're going to have in particular for Father's Day or 4th of July or Labor Day. Having a communication calendar to put in their bag when they're securing the product, or having it available as a marquee on your cash wrap, or even on your digital cash wrap to let them know that things are coming is important. It keeps people engaged. Even a newsletter, if in fact there's information around, if you're a beekeeper and you're selling honey, you want to talk about some critical dates and things that are happening around honey and the honey that you're procuring to bring to them. Or an education program. If you're selling, and here's something a little interesting, a way of looking at it. If you are selling a product, let's say intimate apparel, and you are having a bra fitting, and that could be an educational program about how to take care of your intimate apparel, how to appropriately size for your intimate apparel. Maybe it accommodates in some kind of fashion show of some sort. But being able to educate always keeps your client coming back. And then unique services. I can tell you that I presently buy makeup from a specialty makeup company that has a baseline in rose water, because my face breaks out and rose water calms the skin. So it allows me to put on other makeup without it breaking out or turning red and getting warm. And as a result of that, every year I know that they have a special unique service. They talk about where I am able to go learn more about the ingredients in my skincare product, and what a special way they've been able to infuse it. At first it was rose water. Now they have a rose oil. They have a rose moisturizer that can be used on the body. So all of those unique services of educating me on the thing that is actually allowing me to have a better quality of life. I put it on my calendar every year. It's a unique service that I can't get anywhere else. And I am hooked, and I am a loyal customer. And I've been buying the same makeup now for over 7-8 years. And then a retention program, that could be like in your dry cleaners. You can have a punch card. After your 10th dry cleaning experience, the next one is 50% off. Finding different ways to set yourself apart and having your clients come back is important. Call centers. I used to manage a call center, and one of the key things that we used to have, and everybody who worked for me used to howl, I had these great cool mirrors to put on their computer on their screens so that they could see themselves talking to their clients. They could see when they were smiling, or they could see that they were about to answer the phone with a kind of a grumpiness. I mean, when they saw themselves in the mirror, they were able to adjust, and all of that personality came across on the phone. And the ability to say, I'm sorry, and being able to meet their needs and take copious notes in the note section as a call center person is important, because we want to follow back up and make sure that we were able to take care of any issues or problems that they have. You have to inspire with a mission. So if you are a call center or a web-based business, you want to make sure that your mission is captured in some pictures and some verbiage, and how you close out the experience, even down to on the ending receipt. You might want to say, I know that you had a choice. I think this is kind of, everybody uses this, a choice of spending your money anywhere, and I'm so glad you decided that I was worth your investment, or whatever. Something to let them know that you are committed to giving them the best product that you can, and you appreciate the money that they're giving you. And then leverage your personalization. I mean, clearly, when you say thank you, if you send a thank you card. So when I had a retail business, after every transaction that went out in terms of product that they ordered, there was a personal signed letter, a postcard from me, thanking them for making that purchase. And I had, I wrote their names in script. It was like a real personal card to them because I wanted them to know they spent their hard-earned money and time to shop with me. I wanted to make sure that I spent the time and gave that back to them in appreciation. And again, speak to your customers, get on the floor, find out what they're thinking and what they want. A great way to get the call center experience to grow is potentially if you're a web-based business and you have a product that can be put into a subscriber experience, I think that would be really cool. We give them a taste of all things that you have so that they try them out and then are able to come back to buy more of the things that they prefer. So that might be a great way of being able to expand your customer base, get more marketing information, and keep them engaged in what it is that you have to offer. But again, as we said before, you need to educate your customers, create some kind of surprise or some element of appreciation so that your customers continue to realize that you see them worthy of being your client, and then vice versa, you're providing them the best in whatever they're selecting that they can get anywhere. Again, providing incentives before any, so if someone decides, well, I'm not going to shop here anymore, you want to ask them why. And if in fact you're able to do something different to keep their business, you want to make sure you build trust with your customers and that you become part of their lifestyle. Like I said, my makeup line, anytime I'm running low, I am calling to make sure that that my skincare regimen has not gone out of cycle, because sometimes it happens where you're using a particular lipstick or a cream or a blush and all of a sudden they don't make it anymore. So one of the things that I found that when they are getting ready to execute or get ready to retire a color or anything in my makeup line, the salesperson that I've established this relationship with for the last 8 years, she'll call and say, your color is about to be retired and I have a couple of lipsticks left. Would you like me to secure or have one or two put to the side for you? In that personal shopping element, it will keep your client coming back, and it will have the client sharing that experience with others because everybody wants to be treated special. So again, that one-of-a-kind product, that one-of-a-kind experience is very important. And you need to make sure that you mix it up on your floor, keep your store interesting, mix it up on your website, keep it interesting so that people want to shop. They find it as an enjoyable experience. We talked about this before. You got to hire the right people. You've got to train them for success. You have to have them listen to the customers and make sure that they understand what they're saying. And you have to make sure that you value their time. So that timeliness piece, I'm going to keep on bringing that back, but it's so very critical. So again, be responsive. It's the easiest low-hanging fruit. Be friendly, be personable, be authentic with your communication, go the extra mile. Set internal standards that start at the top business owners that can translate all the way down to your customers. Be aware of your physical surroundings in terms of your staff should know everything that's happening in your building, in your store, as well as understand every nuance between every page on your digital website. Make sure you've got the right tools in place. And tools can be anything from tissue paper to bags, to point of sales, to anything that enhances the customer service experience. You need to make sure that they are the right things to execute a come in and leave with delight moment. And turn complaints into learning opportunities. Everybody can learn from the good and the bad experiences that they have with customers to be able to retain and maintain those that come after those not so great experiences. So I want to thank you. I truly appreciate your time and attention. We have gone for, so we've been together since 9:30. We're at 10:43. So I've been talking a lot, but I hope that I've given you a lot of good points. I wanted to make sure that we make a difference in your business. You have the opportunity to bring an experience to anyone that comes to your store in the city of Chicago or around the world, because we're an international city. And we need to make sure that anybody who encounters our businesses are getting the very best in anything that you are doing. Each person works for you, marks your brand. So your customers are getting your brand through the training and support that you give to your employees, and that your business and you are so much a part of your business that you need to be able to share that energy with your employees so it translates into a positive experience for your customers. And that's the only thing that is going to continue to have your business to be open past 1 year, 5 years, 15 years, 20 years. Make an investment from the start in making sure that you have the right people and the right tools and the right sense of business in your mind. Have that visual of how you want your customer to feel, and then being able to execute that, success will follow. So with that being said, I would like to open up for Q&A.
Thank you, Cheryl. We do have a few questions. How specific versus general should an application be? Are there pros and cons of both a specific versus a general application?
So here in line, I'm going to go with it's a general application with an asterisk. The key thing that you want to make sure you get from those individuals that are going to work for you, of course, is all the typical stuff, right? Name, address, telephone number, email address, educational background, if in fact they are a felon or not, if in fact that has anything to do with your business. Quite frankly, if in fact that does, then you need to have that on your application. If it does not, then you need not put that down. But the key thing is that you want to make sure that you get all of their experience. So we need to know where they worked before and some semblance of what it is that they did and how long they were there, and get a business reference to each one of the jobs that they are identifying on their application, because that is going to give you the asterisk piece. When you call to get the references, it'll give you an opportunity to do a deeper dive into personality, thoroughness, timeliness, all of those kinds of things that inevitably might not be addressed in the one-on-one interview. But the application and the resume should give you a really good perspective of who you've got sitting in front of you, and being able to determine if in fact you're going to take the risk of hiring them.
Great. Next question. How specific versus general should an application be? Oh, I'm sorry, I think we just read that one.
Mhm.
How do you suggest handling a customer who refuses to accept a company policy? For example, in restaurants, we currently have a 2-hour dining time policy so that we can sanitize and reset tables.
So I've actually encountered that, and here is what has to happen, and it's and you can do it, but sometimes it's unfortunate. But at the front end, there are two things that I have seen happen that have worked really well. When individuals are coming in, there is at the cash rep or at the register, at the hostess stand, there's these beautiful signs that are put in frames that basically say, due to COVID, our dining experience has been limited. We are so happy to serve you, but our service will be limited to 2 hours. Please see the server for instructions. And then the server, hostess, picks up from that piece that says, yes, we have a very full evening, and that unfortunately we do have to be able to sanitize and make sure it is wonderful for everyone else. So I would like to let you know that tonight your dining experience will only be 2 hours. Our wait staff will try to make your experience as great as possible, but you will find that they will come over pretty promptly after cocktails to get your dining reservations, and they will be coming back fairly promptly within the 2-hour period to give you your bill of sales, in which at that time we will hope and appropriately need you to prepare to conclude your dining experience. Thank you. And I've heard that, and it's gone on well, because people will understand, yes, they're busy, everybody's ready to come back to eat. We want to give everybody that experience, and it's got to get, has to be disinfected so that we can be in compliance with all the COVID regulations. And so that is how it's been how it's happened before. I've encountered it before. I've also encountered the people who didn't leave. So I've sat next to folks that, well, I paid my money and I should be able to stay. I have heard the wait staff actually very nicely finesse the conversation, says, yes, I know, but as you notice at the front of the of your dining experience, I'm quite sure the hostess explained to you this evening that we were very busy and the protocols that we have to go through in order to maintain and service the next client. I do understand that you are really enjoying yourself, and for that, I am so sorry that we can't have it expand itself into a longer dining experience. But what they have done in the past, they've said, but what we can do, we can transition you, if you're just drinking, to the bar if there's an availability for you to be able to enjoy this experience there while we prep this table for the next client. So I've seen that work.
Okay, great. Another question is, yes, this webinar has been recorded and will be posted on the BACP YouTube page, which is www.youtube.com/Chicago BACP. Another question, do you have any other examples of an excellent customer service moment that you made you a repeat customer?
Okay, you kind of faded out, but I think you said, do I have other examples of excellent customer service moments that I've encountered? Is that right?
That is right. Thank you.
Okay, I have. So, and some of them are really basic ones. So, the first one that I really appreciate is my a dry cleaner. So my present dry cleaner has been sold to a new family. It's been a dry cleaner in the community for a very long time. Actually, there were two. One had to go out of business completely. COVID just took it completely out. And the only one that's still left in my neighborhood happened, the dry cleaner owner retired and sold it to another family, and they're just getting started. And I took over a Mother's Day top that I got from a friend of mine that was really very cute, and I liked it a lot. They didn't read the label, they dry cleaned it, and they ruined it. So when I went to pick up my new, my dry cleaning, the first thing that happened before they even gave it to me, the owner came and said, I need to talk to you. First of all, I want to apologize from right now. My dry cleaning staff did not read the label of one of your blouses, and they actually ruined it. And I now want to show you what happened. It's not completely bad, but we really feel bad about this experience, and this is not how we operate. And I want to go on record and saying I am so deeply sorry. So everything today is going to be free. I am not, all the other dry cleaning, everything today, I am going to pay for it all because it was our fault. And I'm doing that because I want to keep your business. I value it. I see from the history of the old dry cleaning manager that you come here literally every other week. And oh, by the way, I did that even during COVID because I didn't want them to go out of business. So I know, but that's what you do. When your customers who love you will keep you in business. And I love this dry cleaner, regardless of the fact that they changed hands. But I appreciated that owner owning up to her problem and taking the hit. And that I thought super cool. And I've been going back since I did not change. And I can go to another dry cleaner that they just recently opened. But I'm going to give these people a chance because they showed that they wanted my business even when they messed up. So that's one. The second one is My mom likes Kentucky Fried Chicken, loves Kentucky Fried Chicken, eats it literally, and I'm not kidding, every day, to a point where now when my mother goes and I'm with her, I laugh. When she goes to the drive-through, she'll make her order. If they know it's my mom, and my mom's 85, and all the people who work there are all young people and they love her, when she comes to the window, if they're not frying chicken, do you know all of the kids in the back will come to the window and say hello to my mom, see how she's doing, and if on on mom and dad's 63rd wedding anniversary, when she went to get a piece of chicken, they threw in an extra piece of chicken for my dad. And on her birthday, because they remember her birthday because she's been going there for the last 2 years, they always throw in extra cookies and they all sing a little happy birthday song to her in the window. Who does that at a KFC? That's customer retention. And as a result of that, every member of our family, we all go to that same KFC because now we have decided that the KFC should be named after my mom because she keeps them in business, because she loved the service she got. She loves the way the kids treat her. And when I say kids, I am talking about 18, 19-year-olds, 16 through 20-year-old kids working in fast food, not adults that have some finesse. So whoever trained those young people at that KFC really wanted to make sure that they understood that that family feeling should translate from not only as an employee to the customers that they encounter. So those are two that I can think of right off the top that I just think are great examples.
I love that one. Next question. As marketing is a part of customer service, and with almost everything being online now, what would be the best way to market without spending so much on influencers or promos?
Okay, I'm with you on that. So I am a big fan of Instagram and Facebook Live. So and because everybody has now a muscle of being able to watch things on their phone and watching Zoom conversations, I think that the best way to do marketing is to actually have conversations on Facebook Live, and usually with other people. Because if you're a shy person and you're not really good in front of a camera when you know it's in front of you, you're going to kind of clam up and not deliver the information that you need. But if you have an opportunity to have a conversation around your product with other people that are interested or will support your business, and taking that and putting it on Facebook Live would be tremendous. Also, having that then noted in Instagram and having them work together has been, I think, super successful. I'm also a big fan of old school guerrilla marketing. If you have a client base of let's say 10 or 20 people that you really value, you need to get information on those individuals, and you need to be able to send them a postcard and make an incentive. Like, for instance, if you are making let's say you make fudge and you want to enhance your candy roster. Those 20 people who buy fudge from you, you need to send them a thank you card. And in that thank you card, send them a bounce back saying, hey, I'm going to do a 2-for-1 for you. I know that you like my caramel Rocky Road fudge. I am going to give you a half a pound of that for being my client. And with that being said, if you could be so kind to find another fudge lover like you and share their information, you will get, if they order, I will make sure I put an extra 5% off the next time you order in whatever you do. So you use your clients not in a negative way, but you entice them with a freebie, but also encourage them to tell other people about you. Then they also continue to get love in the process.
Next question. What do you suggest if an applicant has been out of work for a while and other honest reasons they are unable to present a reference letter?
I think that everybody can provide some reference. So if they can't give you a work one, they need to give you a personal one that really will give good insight on their work ethic and who they are as a person. You do want to have that contrast of hearing from someone else how that person is perceived, especially in customer service, because that's the biggest tell to how your business is going to be successful. So yes, if they have had a sketchy background, that has happened to a lot of people, they've got to have someone who can vouch for their integrity, and that's what you want.
What do you do if you get one bad reference for an employee you want to hire out of 3 good references?
Then you have to make a decision in your gut if in fact you're willing to take that chance, because sometimes and let's all face it, we all show up differently for different experiences. So whatever that job might have been, it was really not a good fit for them, and therefore they did not show up in the most stellar of positions, but the other 2 seem to be that they were right on point. Then I think it's worth taking the risk. And the key thing is that the thing in which the individual said that they weren't so great at, make sure that you, not pointing it out, are able to emphasize that as being something that you would like them to make sure that they do well. So if the individual said, well, they didn't smile a lot, or they weren't very positive all the time, then when you do your training of that individual, you want to say to them, it is so important that smiling and enjoying this job and showing that joy to the client is critical to this business and critical to my business. And I really want you to lead with that energy. That's a good way of reinforcing exactly what it is that they had doubts about, that you want to cover your tracks to make sure that they exhibit that skill set when they become an employee of yours.
Thank you. So that is all the questions. Lots of great comments on thank yous and what a wonderful panel presentation. But that is all the questions that are in. So I want to thank Cheryl. Thank you so much for your time and your great presentation. And again, this will be posted on the BACP YouTube channel. Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great one.